Hey guys, and welcome to Nix by the Numbers. Today we're going to be looking at setting up a LAMP server based on Ubuntu desktop. I'm using version 12.04, which is their LTS long-term support release. And I figure a lot of people who are going to be playing around with Ubuntu are probably going to have the desktop version and not the server version, which we will go over in a later video. For reference, I am using this in a virtual machine, but most of the steps here apply to the real steel. But the goal of this is to show you guys out there how you can set up from a basic desktop installation of Ubuntu 12.04 LTS to have a working and reasonable LAMP server that's going to have, obviously LAMP stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, so it's going to have Apache as the web server, it's going to have MySQL as the database, and it's going to have PHP support for running your middleware, which a lot of you guys out there are going to be programming your own stuff is probably going to be in PHP, as well as with HTML. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to build this machine here, and I have on my desktop the ISO for Ubuntu 12.4, the desktop. And this version just happens to be 32-bit. I think it's their official recommendation, so I figured might as well try to keep it easy. So yeah, you just want to click on this new button here. This is a slightly out-of-date version of VirtualBox, but it's pretty boilerplate. I'm going to go ahead and call it LAMP server. So you'll notice here too, since I put the word Ubuntu in here, it automatically knew to set it up as Linux, and as far as I know, all this does is set some pre-configuration for the driver bridge and the little icon. But we're going to go ahead and continue. I'm going to go ahead and give this a gig. It doesn't really need a lot if it's just doing a single purpose, but just give it a gig. New hard disk, VDI, dynamically allocated. Now the difference between these two is dynamically allocated. Say if you want to give it a virtual hard disk of 25 gigabytes, dynamically allocated will have that little the table file, the virtual disk image, start at whatever the minimal sum of that drive is. So if you really only have a gig of information on that hard drive, it's only going to take up a gig on your real hard drive. Whereas if we did fixed size, it'll go ahead and parse out or plot out that 25 gigs or whatever you want to set it to. So I'm just going to do dynamically allocated for now. Shouldn't be a problem. I'll give it 10 gigs just to be safe. If you're going to do like file service, you probably want something a bit more, but I'm just doing vanilla LAMP here. Go ahead and create. Now we'll just hit start and go through these pre-set up prompt. Now this is the first run wizard. You'll see this unless you set up your disk image in the settings, which you can do beforehand. I usually do just from older versions, just kind of a habit. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and run through here. I'll say media source. We're going to set to the ISO image. Just paste that puppy in there, so it knows it's going to be a disk image. And I have the link to where I got these down in the description. You guys can go ahead and take a look if you want to grab the same version I'm using here. And we'll start. And our VM is booting up. Oracle now, not Sun, but oh well. And the machine I'm running this on is decently fast, and if you are going to be running a LAMP server in a virtual environment, you probably want dual, quad would be better. At least 2.5 gigahertz, plenty of RAM. Can't go wrong with RAM if you're going virtual, and 500 gigs for a hard drive should do you fine. If you're putting this onto real steel, you can get away with just like 2 gigs, a decent solo core. I ran a LAMP server off of a Pentium 4 for my external site for a while before I went to GoDaddy. But whatever works for you. Yeah, it doesn't like my BIOS. Doesn't like Oracle's BIOS. Mine is fine. Alright, so as you see, we got the main install screen, and there's two options here. If you want to do try Ubuntu, you can just run it as a live C, because as it is right now, this isn't actually sitting on any hard drive. This is actually sitting in initramfs, which is a live file system that lives on the memory. We're going to go ahead and do install, because we're going to put this puppy on. Alright, we have at least 4, yeah. Connect to the internet, yeah. We'll go ahead and download updates. Third party, yeah, let's go ahead and do that too. Why not? Just continue. I know when you get to this screen here, you'll have, you know, if you want to do some special format setting up, if you're doing a dual boot or whatever. A lot of times we already have like Windows 7 on here. It'll give you an option to install alongside Windows 7. But this, I'm running a VM. I'm just going to do erase entire disk and install Ubuntu. Yep, looks good. Of course, back there you can select a different drive, but there's only one that virtual disk that we had. Alright, and once it's in, you'll notice too that this whole thing is downloading in the background. It should automatically detect, based on your IP, whereabout you are. It's putting me in China. That's not right. We do shipwreck.net. Or China. It's aptly named. Let's see, come on. Denver. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you're using, like, you know, if you're, like, VPNing or if you're doing some sort of proxy server, it might throw you off, especially if you're doing Tor. You know, you'll be in, like, Estonia. But yeah, I've just set it to your time zone, so your time is nice and synchronized, especially if you're doing stuff like backups. You don't want it to be all over the place. Go ahead and hit continue. Okay, and here you can set up your keyboard layouts. You can type in here, you know, make sure that your keyboard's set up. But you can go through the detect keyboard layout. But for 99.9% of the people doing this is probably good to go. Go and just include our UK friends or South African friends or our Esperanto friends. Captain Kirk is one of our Esperanto friends. We must not forget him. But since I just have a US English keyboard, we'll just be using that. Okay, so here we can actually just set up our username. So I'll just say for my name, computer name, now, yeah. Must be fancy. Yeah, so, you know, whatever you want. Just FYI, the chooser, all the usernames for most systems really need to be lowercase. And they are case sensitive if you're not aware. For password, let's do something strong. That's what I meant. Why are you not like that? Why are you beeping at me? Fool, why you be beeping? Okay. Alright, and then, you know, you can set the login automatically. I'd steer away from that. Yeah, require password for sure. You can do some, I've never actually used this encryption feature. One of these days I really should just try it out and see what it does. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you have to get all that done, just hit continue. Come on. There we go. And she just keeps on chugging.